All right, welcome everyone to one of my live streams. Today we're gonna talk about how to stop overthinking. I did a video on the topic, but to be honest, I think it's so important as a topic that we need to talk about it more deeply. And I want to explain to you why we overthink and how we can stop it. And maybe to start the video off, I personally struggled with overthinking for quite some time. And to be honest, that's something most of us will eventually struggle with if we didn't start already to do it. All right, let's kick it off, guys. So for me personally, I remember maybe a scenario where I was constantly overthinking it. That was when I was basically quite young. That happened to me when I was playing soccer. That was me joining a new team. I was not sure. I was constantly nervous. I was not sure how to blend in with the team. And I ended up in a position where I actually wanted to improve my skills. I wanted to play in a better team. But eventually the problem with that is in the end I was so much in my head that I was not in my body anymore. And it resulted in me not playing my best game. That ended with me overthinking basically every step I took. And I'm not sure how many of you guys do sport or played sport in a team. The second you're only in your head, that's usually the end of your career, if you will. And in the end, I struggled. I gave up. It was one of the first times in my life where I gave up. And I think overthinking is something we can work on, we can fix, and there are some tools out there that might help you. But I think before we usually understand the solutions, I think it's always important to understand why we overthink, what are the reasons. And I think understanding it better usually helps also a lot already, which could already be part of a solution, if you will, because if you just understand it, it usually removes power from it. I hope you get what I'm saying here. And to be honest, overthinking is based on something very, very old. Basically, when we were running away from tigers and we barely invented the wheel of fire, back in the days, overthinking meant survival. Like, if you were not overthinking, if you were not scared about stuff, about the darkness, about fire, about whatever, going out at night or not being with people, being all alone, that usually meant that you might get killed. So that might have been just the end of your life. And evolutionary, let's say, if you look at my face, I also have facial hair, right? Why do I have facial hair? It's more or less the same reason why I'm overthinking, because this was when we were really cavemans. I was basically more or less an animal. Like, I had hair all over my body, and that's just a residual of that time. It's still there. And the same is for overthinking. The problem is nowadays when you need to give a presentation, that usually means your body reacts with the same kind of panic to a presentation like a tiger is basically trying to attack you. And that's where the problem is. Like, a presentation is not a life or death situation, even though it might feel like that. And trust me when I tell you, I can imagine how it feels for certain people, and giving presentations felt for me like a life or death situation in the past. But in the end, I found ways to conquer that kind of fear and to do it anyhow. And I want to give you those tools here in the live stream, guys. I hope you can hear me well. I'm still trying to do this more regularly. Quality should be amazing. I think I set it up the right way. So that's one of the reasons basically why we're overthinking. Another reason, let's say more modern reason why we're overthinking is we have the illusion that we can control everything. reality is we cannot control everything. Certain things are just not in our control, even though we wish they would be in our control, but they're just not. And this illusion that we can control the world around us makes us think that overthinking is the only way on how we can actually get a head start, how to control things. But yeah, as we all just discussed, we just literally cannot. And we think by overthinking and thinking all the scenarios through, we can prevent pain, we can prevent failure. But I tell you something that already goes almost into motivational topic here. Failure is not just part of life. I think it's one of the most necessary things that need to happen to you eventually. And I'm a strong believer the earlier failure happens, the better for you. And it sounds tough, but sometimes we need this tough love because we are scared, like I said earlier, about the unknown, about the tiger that might attack us if we leave our apartment. And the problem is, if we never saw a tiger in the first place, we see it everywhere. Means if we fail, if we are getting hurt and it happened and we realize it's not a life or death situation, it's literally not killing you, it's just making you realize that even if a worst case scenario is happening, it's not the end of the world. You will survive. It feels bad, yes, but for a moment. And I don't know, sometimes we just try not to feel things, negative, positive, or everything in between. But if you ask me personally, we need to feel those feelings and we need to risk getting hurt and we need to also risk embarrassing ourselves because we just have this one single life. If you think about it, like you just get one chance. And if you never risk doing what you want to do, not doing, following your dreams, not speaking up, not whatever, talking to that girl, talking to that guy that you like, you will never really live. And trust me, regret hurts way, 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 way more than embarrassment or failure. With that being said, it's a reason to overthink because we think we can control and prevent negative things. But I think negative things are just so important for our lives in general, and it doesn't make sense to avoid them. It just doesn't make sense. Yeah, then obviously there's another thing that might cause overthinking for me personally. I think I'm still struggling with it from time to time, but it's called perfectionism. Again, we think we need to make everything amazing. We need to do things perfectly or not do them at all. Again, I get it, why we're thinking that way, but to be honest, it's better that you do something bad than not doing it at all. Same goes for the live stream, guys. Like, I don't know if the audio is amazing, if the visuals are amazing, but for me, doing this live stream, however I do it, is better than not doing it at all. And trust me, I know so many people that also, they were dreaming about, oh no, I need to start a YouTube video, but my scripts and my ideas, and maybe I need to do like this and that. And they plan for years, but they just never post a video. And to be honest, a perfectionist that posts one video per year will never make it. He just won't. You need to do things and do them as good as you can with the information you have for this specific moment. If you figure it out later on how to do it better, do it, but it's a progress. And most amazing people out there, I swear to God, like from the most famous YouTubers, from Mr. Beast or actors, whatever, Cristiano Ronaldo, like whoever you admire, they were all doing it badly. They were all doing it as good as they could, but you need to develop the skills. And the problem is nowadays, which also just some people are embarrassed to dance at concerts. Come on, guys, like if you care so much about the opinion of others, you will never enjoy life, and that's just not worth it. I don't know. By the way, here, Luciana, Marco, you're a big help, and audio is amazing. That's great. Thanks for the feedback. So by the way, I see all your messages here in the live streams. So whoever's joining, I'm not so sure. I'm doing a vertical and horizontal stream. It might be that I just see the chats from the, let's say, horizontal stream. If I don't see anyone that sees me here on YouTube Shorts in this stream, I'm sorry guys, I need to figure out how to see you better. I'm gonna jump later into analytics, but feel free to leave all your questions and everything you want to know about overthinking in this live stream, because ideally in a perfect world, I want this to be interactive. I want to teach you everything I know from my personal perspective, from my point of view, but working with questions is amazing. I did it in the past on TikTok. Let's see. I think it takes time as well to grow the community, but we're gonna get there. All right, then why are we overthinking as well? Most things are already covered in a way, but obviously, I said earlier, if you fail, it's good. Why is failure actually good? I explained it to you, but on the other hand, if you failed one time horribly, you embarrassed yourself, and then you're gonna go like, but Marco, you told us failing is good. I feel awful. To be honest, it can happen to some people, and maybe also happen to me, that you fail horribly, and this kind of experience is gonna be stuck into your brain forever. Which means now, because you had this one bad experience, you just decide to never risk it again. Can happen, but I promise you, don't let fear cripple you. You just need to go out there and do it again. And the longer you wait, the bigger the fear is gonna be. To give you one example, one day in my life I had a car accident. Luckily, I had a guardian angel, like nothing really bad happened to me, and it was also not my fault. But what I want to say is, after that, I was a bit scared maybe to drive the car or to go to this specific place where the car crashed. But when it happened, the second I felt better physically, 1 week later, I jumped into the car and I went to the same traffic light where it happened. It felt weird. I was scared to do it, but I'm glad I did it, because I never developed the fear or phobia of driving, because I jumped back on it and I did it. And I can recommend that you do the same thing and just don't let one bad experience define your life or your character. Maybe that's also another thing. For me, it's like we need to be careful also how we basically speak to ourselves. Sometimes, because you failed at something, some people tell themselves, I'm a loser. But to be honest, you're not a loser. Now, maybe in this regard, let me rephrase it. It still makes sense, but it doesn't sound the way I want it to sound like. What I actually meant to say is, like, just because you lost, it doesn't make you a loser. Because if you say, I am a loser, you identify as a person who is a loser. But if you lost a game, that doesn't make you a loser. You just lost a game. You can still be a winner that lost a game. You should never identify yourself with those negative thoughts. Period. Nothing else to add, if you ask me. Then, last reason, according to me, at least that I prepared for this live stream, is why basically can you also overthink. We're constantly bombarded with so much input on social media, especially those vertical social media platforms like TikTok, YouTube Shorts, Instagram, like the feed is overwhelming. It's always there. There's always a new video, always something else to see. And also someone always seems to live their best lives. They're always on holiday, they always travel, they have all their shit figured out, they have all their life figured out, they just live amazingly. And then you compare yourself with them, and then you just start to feel awful, and then you start questioning everything, your whole life, your whole existence. And I think this constant basically overstimulation, it can just clutter your mind and you cannot really focus on the things that are important. So I would say stop comparing yourself. Also maybe give yourself enough room to breathe, to take breaks, to maybe do a digital detox. By the way, I also did an amazing video, very cinematic, and it took so much time. It took, I don't know, 2 months or more, and had so much help from friends. And my girlfriend was amazing to film that video. I just renamed it to hopefully that the YouTube algorithm is gonna be picking it up. It's called now, let me think. I called it now something with digital detox. So it's definitely worth checking it out. You're gonna find it on my channel. I might link it even later here in the live stream. But if you really struggle with spending too much time on your phone, that's a video that you should definitely check out. But yeah, I would say modern life can just overwhelm you at times, and we need to take time to really chill, to relax and calm down. All right. Now we kind of figure out why we are overthinking, or what could be potential reasons why we overthink in the first place. And I think, like I said, knowing why we do that usually takes power away from it already to a certain degree. For me, it's like, if you think about it, it's like a curtain and something is hidden behind that curtain. But if you just pull the curtain and reveal it, that sounds basically kind of like a Scooby-Doo movie, if you ask me, where they just reveal who's the bad guy. Anyhow, if you reveal and pull the curtain, you will realize that basically looking your fear in the eye, it's not as scary as it used to, because then you can stop imagining why certain things happen. You know why they're happening. That makes them less scary. Yes, then I did an amazing video also on overthinking. It's more short. I think it's around 4 minutes. That's also one reason when I put all my effort into making content, creating videos on certain topics, I do so much research basically, that I have so much stuff that doesn't fit into the video. And my idea is now to do those kind of live streams to give you all the things that I found out during my research that just didn't make the final cut. But my overthinking video is definitely worth checking out as well on my channel. Yeah, check it out. Good. Now let's jump into solutions on how we can stop overthinking. Part of this video specifically was the so-called 5-year question. Sounds weird. What is a 5-year question and how does it help you with overthinking? A 5-year question is basically whenever you're stuck overthinking in a situation, you just need to ask yourself, will this specific decision matter in the next 5 years? Or the next 5 days, or the next 5 weeks, or 5 months, or whatever in between. And most of the time the answer is no, it does not matter. Like, it just doesn't. We think, oh no, now if I take this job or move to this city, and oh, my whole life is gonna be stuck. And it isn't. Like, maybe in 5 years you already have a completely new job. You can reinvent your life. You can move to a new city if you feel like it. Like, whatever it is you're overthinking, if you really think about it, in the next 5 years, the decision won't matter. And that takes away so much pressure. That's like, for me, that feels like if you run around with a backpack that is filled with heavy stones, you can just off your shoulders, You can finally breathe again. Like, this heavy burden is gone. I think that's one of the most powerful things that you can actually do, is to ask yourself that specific question. Yeah, I think that with that you can really put things into perspective. And there's another amazing thing that I found while filming my last video on overthinking, is also the so-called 5-minute rule. Like, if you're still stuck overthinking and you just cannot stop it, do the 5-minute rule. Set yourself a timer on your cell phone, sit in a chair and start to worry for 5 minutes. I think even in therapy, that's a specific exercise that people say and do and recommend for their patients. Is really to go into their worry chair and worry. The funny thing is, if you allow yourself to do it and you go to the worry chair, it almost sounds ridiculous. It almost sounds like you tell a child to go in the corner and stare at the corner or whatever. And that sounds so ridiculous. And I think if you just do that or set yourself a timer, you most likely will not worry as much as you think. You will not overthink as much as you think, because it just takes also the power out of it in a way. And it's also very, very funny, because you can also not, most likely not, focus on those things. If I tell you whatever, be happy now, you cannot just flip a button and be happy. Same goes for overthinking. If I tell you, sit in this chair and overthink now, do it, overthink, think more, do it, do it, do it, do it, I think you can't. And that's an exercise, if you never tried it, I promise you, do it, set yourself this 5-minute timer, and you're gonna feel an instant relief. And those are just 2 tools that really help with overthinking. I can highly recommend that you check them out, that you try them. And that's already 2 amazing tools, but there's more to come here in the live stream. There are more tips that I have for you. Next one is called clarity through action. And that's something I can also tell you. Sometimes, instead of overthinking, the best thing that you can do is just do it anyhow. Do it scared, do it worrying, but just do it. If you do things, the clarity will come. If you cannot make a certain decision, just make a decision. Stick with it. Do it. And that most of the time also again removes the pressure, and you're gonna feel better about it. And I promise you, sometimes you just need to make a good enough decision. Not the best decision. A perfect decision doesn't exist. But if you make a good enough decision, that's something. And the worst position that you can put or place yourself in is if you do nothing. If you just wait for life to pass you by, everybody living their best life, everybody making decisions, everybody doing something while you're stuck not knowing what to do. Trust me, this can only lead to anxiety. Just make a good enough decision and go for it. And a very basic tool I think you heard about, but I think sometimes it helps. Let me grab some money here. By the way, that's a Bulgarian coin. Can we put it in focus? We cannot. Also fine. That's a coin. So sometimes when you want to make a decision and you don't know what to do, just take a coin, flip it in the air, and I promise you, before it lands, you will wish for one or the other decision to happen. If it heads or tail. Like, you're gonna hope, oh God, I hope it's this one. And sometimes that helps you, because subconsciously, most of the times we already know what we actually would like to do. Yeah, then very, very, very nice tip for overthinking. that actually leads more into meditation, which is also an amazing topic, and I'm for sure gonna make videos about meditation and maybe also do a live stream about it. But the next tip for overthinking is basically to observe your thoughts and not fight them. What does that actually mean? If you have your overthinking thoughts, just don't go down the rabbit hole and follow up every thought with a whole story behind it. Just observe it, see, oh, I'm overthinking right now. And your thought might be, I'm not sure I'm not sure if I should take that job opportunity or not. That's your thought. It's like a cloud. Imagine like a blue sky. And you basically see this cloud, which is this thought, if you should take this job or not. Basically, you see the cloud, you realize you're overthinking, and you just let it pass by. That's it. But what do we usually do? We have this thought, oh, should I take this job? And then we build a whole story about it. And then we go crazy. We say, yeah, I don't know if I want to take the job because actually I'm not sure. Right now I'm more focused on other skills that I would like to develop further, but I'm not sure, but I also need the money. And I don't know, if moving to this different country, maybe I have less security. How does it work? And then you're basically down the rabbit hole and you go crazy about it. But if you just stop at the first thought and you don't add thoughts to it and just observe it, it takes away the power. But that's something you need to practice. And to be honest, in life, there are usually no quick fixes. I can promise you that. There's no magic pill that removes everything. This will take time, but you can do it. I did it really by meditating. And I meditated for 365 days, which means 1 year. And in this 1 year, I swear to God, like every day I meditated for 10 minutes. And I did exactly this exercise that I just described. Closed my eyes, set a timer for 10 minutes, and I meditated. After 1 year, my thoughts are crystal clear and I can focus them and I can stop going down that rabbit holes, also when not meditating. But it took really some time to kick in. Definitely worth checking out. Maybe do your own research on it. But for me, as basic as that can already help you. Yeah, this one actually I already touched it. Another tip would be name it to tame it. Means if you can identify basically that you're overthinking, just label it. Say, right now I'm overthinking about this certain topic, and it will take away the power. Very easy, very powerful, and you will definitely, by observing something, you will detach from that thought. And if you remember in the beginning of the live stream, I told you that if you lose something, it doesn't make you a loser. You do not need to identify with the person who is a loser just because you lost. You can be a winner. You can be a winner that lost. And that's very important. And sometimes when you just observe your thoughts and you name them, it basically detaches you from them. And if there's a detachment, you will not feel it as intense as you usually might. Exactly. Then this actually we touched as well. It's like if you basically schedule a worry window, that's like setting up a timer and just for 10 minutes worry each day. And I think that's already amazing and very helpful. And easy tip, easy. Guys, do it. It's in the end, sometimes we think things need to be complicated, they need to be complex to really work. But in reality, in life, the easiest things work the best. But we just don't try them or we don't trust them because we think it's too easy to be true. But sometimes the easiest things are actually working, and don't make it more complicated than it needs to be. Because overthinking, we all do it from time to time, but we can all fight it. We can all find solutions for it. And just try one of the strategies that I mentioned so far. You don't need to try all of them, just try what works, but really try it. Do it seriously, do it for a certain period of time. Otherwise, you cannot judge if it's doing the trick or not. Then, next tip is basically write it down and let it go. That means sometimes if you have an abstract thought in your head, writing it down physically, seeing it in front of your eyes, that basically can help you because you take it out of the brain onto a paper. Again, you're detaching yourself from it. And when you see it, when you write it down, it brings you clarity, and maybe you have even some ideas how to really taking that decision that you're overthinking right now. And you can make an actual plan instead of just worrying without any objective or goal behind it. And if you want to do it one step further, actually you can take this piece of paper, rip it apart, burn it, or whatever. Like you can burn it literally to the ground. And this is like an extra step that you don't need to do, but it can actually help you to release it. Some people also talk about journaling. I think it's a great tool. I need to give it a better try myself yet. But some people like to, for example, reflect on Sundays, what went well, what didn't go well, what decisions they need to take, put it on a piece of paper, but then they can sleep more calmly on Sundays instead of going to bed in full-on panic mode because they actually keep everything inside. So to release it, put it on a piece of paper or talk with someone about it. That's another topic, by the way. That's something I never got really, I never understood. It's like sometimes we're too embarrassed to show someone that we're having feelings. Like too embarrassed to talk someone to admit we're having difficulties making a decision. And who are we trying to impress, guys? Like we all pretend that we figured life out, but in reality, none of us has life figured out really. And we're all pretending. But for me, real friendships, relationships, and everything in between, we should be open, we should be transparent. Like, what do we have to lose? In the end, we all feel the same things. We all struggle in similar manners, but we're just pretending that we're not. I never got it. That's the most stupidest thing I ever saw in my life. Just open up. And if you don't want to open up to your friends, maybe it's time to find better friends, real friends. But if you really cannot do it, at least write it down on a piece of paper. Oof, the next one is going to be a tough one. I'm going to need a sip of water before I'm going to jump into the next one. The next one, problem with creative people. So I'm not sure how many creative people are out there, but for me as a creative person, sometimes the space around me is completely cluttered. It's super unorganized, things are all over the place. And then sometimes throughout the day I feel weird. I don't know why I feel weird. I don't feel creative until I look around me and everything is just cluttered. And to be honest, if that's the case, no wonder you're overthinking, because there's no cleanness, no space, no organization in your physical space. And most of the time, the physical space around you represents how you feel inside. In a weird but funny way, today I got my hair cut. I think it looks quite well. But for me, it's like if I'm too busy and I'm all over the place, usually you can tell by my haircut. So right now I'm fresh as fuck, I would say. But if you see videos from me where my hair is a bit more chaotic, most likely I was working super hard to finish stuff, which is amazing as well. Sometimes you just need to push through and do it anyhow. But organizing your space is super, super important, and I'm trying to do it. Obviously for you guys, the cleaner my background, my backdrop, the more pleasant it is to look at, I guess. But also for me, myself, when I have a blockade and I don't know what to say, how to do things, and so on, just doing it, it helps. Same goes obviously for overthinking. Yeah, I think there's not much more that I can say about it, but I think it will definitely help you. Then I think another tip that helps with overthinking amazingly is if you ask yourself a certain question. Is this thought helpful? Is this thought helpful or hurtful? It's super easy because if you ask yourself this kind of question, you're gonna reflect on it. And if it's helpful, then you're actually trying to find a solution. You're proactively planning on how you can make a decision. It's helpful. But if it's hurtful, you're just almost torturing yourself. It's destructive overthinking. And if you ask yourself the question, helpful or hurtful, you're gonna catch yourself again, which is one of the most important things, to basically again pull the curtain to see, uh-oh, I'm overthinking and that's the thought I'm having. Then you can stop. But you need to ask yourself this simple question. Is this thought helpful or hurtful? Easy, do it, try to implement it, and try to catch yourself. Be mindful about it. Mindfulness, also an amazing topic. There's so many stuff actually that I would like to talk about in my live streams and in my videos. I hope, guys, I really hope. Now we just hit above 1K subs. It's amazing. That was one of my goals, and I just realized, by the way, that 90% of YouTubers never reach 1000 subs. So I'm already in the top 10% of all YouTubers, which means I left behind 90% of almost the world. I cannot fit it in my head. I cannot, too hard to think about it. The next step is gonna hit 4,000 watch hours, then I can get monetized. And when I get monetized, guys, around 3% of YouTubers only do it. 97% of the people around the globe will never reach it. I'm already in the top 10%. Now I just need to go into the top 3%. It's just so crazy if I think about it. And I can do it, obviously, with all of your help, with all my hard work and all my sacrifices. I can do that and I will do that. And I just want to say thank you to everybody that supported me so far. And I'm so sure that those videos have the chance to help so many people if they get recommended to the right people. And sometimes the algorithm needs some time to find that audience, but it's gonna find you. And if it did, thank you for being here. Thank you for supporting me. And now I lost my train of thought, what I actually wanted to say, but I just had to get that off my chest anyhow. Last tip actually is embrace uncertainty. If you're overthinking, embrace uncertainty. It's part of life. We're not supposed to figure everything out. We're not supposed to know all the answers. Sometimes it's okay not to know. It's okay to think about it in a way like life is an adventure. If you always know what's coming, it would be boring. It just would be boring. And sometimes not knowing is what makes it exciting. And yes, you can overthink certain things. There are also some questions most likely I will never get an answer on. What happens after we die? I don't know. What happens? No one knows. I can think about it the whole day. I can think about it my whole life. And if I like to think about it, there's nothing wrong about it. But what I want to say is, it's okay to not know the answer. Maybe one day I will, maybe we all do. But if we do not know, maybe it's just a waste of time. And for that matter, a waste of life. So maybe stop searching for all the answers out there and just sometimes be in the moment, enjoy the moment, and accept it. You just do not know the answer. And also be fine if you don't know the answer. Like I said, to make the best decision you can in this specific time with the information you have. If you can do that, you already won life, to be honest. You just won life. And sounds easy, sounds simple, but super, super, super helpful. All right, actually time flies and I'm surprised how good of a flow I have when I do the live stream. I would say that's, yeah, simply amazing. We figured out why we overthink. Now I gave you my best tips on how you can stop to overthink. Maybe if you see this video, you can comment, leave a comment and tell me which tip is the most helpful, which tip you would actually like to try for overthinking, or better yet, support each other and give your best tip on how to stop overthinking and leave it in the comments. Super excited to read it. My vision for the whole channel is actually to build that kind of community where we push each other, where we help each other, and where we basically, where we're just a great community. That's the kind of community that I would like to build. All right, yeah. With that being said, I think, let me just go quickly through my notes. Yeah, then I think we picked all of it. Just like I said, think about which tip you want to try this week. I encourage you to try at least one, but really, really try it. And when you tried it, come back to me. Tell me if it helped you, I hope. If not, we can try something else. Check out my whole other videos on my channel. Trust me, there's so much value in there, and I put my life into my videos. I work 40 hours, I do so many things, and it's super hard to balance this side hustle with a full-time job, with friends, with a relationship and everything and so on. It's such a huge sacrifice to do it, but I gladly do it, and I also gladly speak about the topics that I'm speaking on my channel, because I know how hard it is if you struggle with certain things, especially if it's mental. Mental things sometimes feel so heavy because nobody wants to talk about it. I want to talk about it. We need to talk about it. I want to help you push through it, because I think physical push, maybe I'm going to talk about it as well, but physically, I think it's easier to get out of issues, to do sport, to eat healthier. I think we all know how to do it, but when it comes to mental stuff, we just don't have the right mindset. We don't have the right tools to deal with it. I want to change it. I want to open that discussion and give you all the tips I have. That's why I sacrifice it, amongst other things, but it's also my dream. And today we got one step closer to my dream by doing that live stream. Guys, thank you so much. Subscribe to my channel, watch more videos, support me as much as you can if you got any value from that video. With that being said, this video will be available as a recording as well. Enjoy your evening, have a great time, and see you on my next live stream.